Hello and welcome to today's video where we're looking at detached houses for sale in M21, which is a postcode area of Manchester. Now, we've done a couple of videos in this series for the postcode of M21. We've looked at apartments, terrace houses, semi-detached houses, and I'll link to those in this video as well. But on this particular walkthrough, we're looking at detached houses. Now, specifically, we're looking for investment opportunities. So things that will work for a buy-to-let landlord. Maybe it's a property that's suitable for a house of multiple occupation, purpose-built student accommodation, service accommodation, holiday lets, buy-to-let professional tenants. A whole host of different strategies can work using these techniques. We're going to try and identify properties that are in good condition, ready to let out, make sense to kind of buy as they are, and potentially some value add opportunities. Now, when you're looking at detached houses, they're a big property usually, and they are higher in asset cost. So they don't often fit the typical investor purchase. However, there can be some really interesting opportunities, and hopefully we'll find some in today's video. We're going to be looking at Rightmove, Zoopla, and OnTheMarket. They're three main portals where you'll find opportunities. Straight away, we've put in M21 already on this list. We're going to be adding some filters and some sort criteria. Initially, this is simply straightforward. It's just a case of adding detached houses into the filters. And you can see here, there's two properties for sale that are detached houses in M21 on Zoopla. If we go to OnTheMarket.com and we look at detached houses as well, we've only got 5. And this is typical. You do see less properties of this style in most areas. They're not always in high demand. They are for the right buyers, but there's also just not many of them. There's not much supply when it comes to these types of properties in these areas. So it's a very quick walkthrough. We've only got 5 in Rightmove, 2 in Zoopla, and 5 on OnTheMarket. You will see some properties on one portal that you don't see on another. So it is worth looking at all 3 portals. Now, we don't always look at all 3 portals in these walkthroughs because there just isn't enough time to show you. There will be value in doing all 3, and this approach should take you 10-15 minutes when you get up to speed shortlisting properties in all areas, all property types. You can do that quite quickly, but for time we would look at Rightmove, but because we've only got a couple of opportunities in each one, it's going to be quite quick. We'll look at all 3 portals for you. So here, 5 properties. We're going to be listing lowest price to highest. It's just a personal preference from mine. You can also change that. You can add in different criteria in terms of price ranges, number of bedroom types. And I would certainly do that if you've got 100 plus opportunities in a given area, but we've only got a handful here, so that would be quite straightforward. So we've got St. Werburghs Road at the top in Manchester, detached, 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. That's the starting property that we're seeing. Now, it's actually a premium listing, which usually is the case that they will show premium listings, featured properties right at the top, but it doesn't necessarily fit the sort that we've set, lowest price. This one does though. It's the entry property for the detached at 635, then it goes to 650, 825, 1.1 million, and then right at the bottom, 1.5 million. So you can see there's quite a wide spread. Lowest end is 635,000 versus 1.5 million. That's quite a difference. Now, this particular property here, you can see substantial 4 bedrooms detached house or detached property in need of modernisation. It's unlikely going to be the case that an investor would buy this, refurbish it, and then rent it for tenants. The rental yield that they would get versus the amount of money that they put into the property often doesn't make sense. There's more opportunities to do that type of thing with apartments, terrace houses, some semi-detached houses, rarely with detached houses. But this one here could be a really good property for a homeowner to buy, refurbish, and live in. Could also be good for an investor to buy, refurbish, and sell. Now, we don't know yet how this compares in terms of the market value for the properties in the area. We can look at map comparisons, and that will really help. But when we're looking at the images here, you can see, it already says it in the description, but it needs some modernisation. It's got a garage at the back, good sized property, off-road parking, decent sized garden. Looks like a great family home. Looks like it could be a really good fit. So if you're looking for refurbishments of a larger size, I would be adding that one, and then you can sort of compare it to market values later on. This one here, so this is St. Werburghs Road. This is Mauldeth Road West in Chorlton. This is a 3-bedroom, 2 reception room. Nice sized garden. Property internally is okay, so there's not really much scope. Unless this property had maybe a corner plot or something they could do with the garden that would give us an opportunity for planning gain, then maybe it starts to be interesting. Otherwise, it looks like a perfectly good family home, but maybe not one that's suitable for an investor to do some significant value add to. Same again for these. We'll go quite quick through these listings unless there's something massively obvious that jumps out. 1.1 million, 1.5 million. Again, perfectly nice family homes, but too high probably in terms of value for us to significantly do something with that opportunity. So we've added one detached house here. We would usually then go onto the map view and have a look at the map view and just see how close these properties are together. There's some really interesting things that you can do with a map view. You can look at comparison properties nearby. You can look for outlier prices, below market value prices. These are all a bit of a distance from each other. You've got here 1.1, 635, 1.5, 825, and 650. There's no correlation between the locations of these and then the one next to it in terms of its potential price. They're too far apart, I think, to use as comparable values. It might be that this part of Chorlton isn't as popular as this or this, which is why it's a lower value. But it might simply be because it needs a refurbishment and they're trying to attract investors and developers to do it. And therefore, there has to be some value in the property to warrant that refurbishment. So that's the one that we've added so far. Next up, if we look at Zoopla, we can see if there's any other opportunities here that's not listed on the other properties. So this one here is the one that we've already added. And then there's another one here, 650. If we go back to list view, so this is the same property, Mauldeth Road West, as on Rightmove. So there's no unique listings here that we've spotted. So I'd keep that the same. And then finally on the market. So again, these properties here, we've seen on Rightmove, apart from this one. So this one is interesting. It's not listed on Rightmove or Zoopla. It's 450,000. It is a bungalow, so it's different than the other detached houses, but it's got some information here in the description that's a little bit more interesting than the others. So substantial plot, 2 double bedroom detached property. It's only 2 bedrooms, but yeah, you can see it's a nice size plot. And bungalows are really sought after in some locations because there's just not many of them. There's not many bungalows being built anymore. And this development here, it might be a case of this property makes sense depending on the values of the areas nearby. If we click on this particular listing and we look at the map view, we scroll out a little bit. So this part of Chorlton, you would be getting some semi-detached houses in a lower price range than this that are 3 bedrooms. This is a detached house. Or detached bungalow at 450,000. So as a comparable to other properties in that area for a rental, it wouldn't make sense. But for development, you've got one right next to it, which is on the market for 1.1 million. A really large style detached house versus a much smaller bungalow. But for the right developer, for the right investor, this particular property, it might be that there's enough value in that development to knock down this building and build a couple of houses rather than having one smaller detached bungalow. Otherwise, a family, it's only 2 bedrooms, so it's going to be a small family, or a homeowner that wants to live there is going to be spending more for a smaller property than they would get in maybe even a semi-detached house. Plot of land, bigger garden, of course, but it's really a development opportunity, this particular property, it seems to be. Is there enough value in it compared to others? It's hard to say, but it's worth adding. So we'd add that to our shortlist. You can create a new shortlist here. You can name the list based upon the location, based upon the property types, based upon the price range, whatever's good for you. But that's what we'll be looking at doing and adding that detached property there. So we've looked at detached houses for sale in M21. We've only found 2 opportunities, but 2 interesting ones, both refurbishments. You've got this development here and this development here. Now, if we go back to our original list where we've been building all of the properties in this area, and this one's now been added to it. The other property is on another portal. So we've got 28 properties on Rightmove. We've got 1 property on OnTheMarket. So 29 property opportunities for sale in M21 that could be really interesting for different reasons. We've got some good properties to move into, no work required. We've got some refurbs, we've got some conversions, we've got some potential land developments if there's scope to do that in the gardens that we've looked at as well. So a real mix of properties. Hope you found that valuable, hope you found that helpful. As mentioned before, you can use this across all strategy types. You can use this across all locations, all price ranges, all property types. And it'd be great to hear about your strategies as well. What do you look for? What locations are you focused on? And if you've got any locations you'd like us to do in our next videos, please leave them in the comments below. This video is on M21, but we can cover all different postcodes. So yeah, it'd be great to hear what you'd like us to do next in the next videos. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care. Bye.